super passionate about just performing. So in whichever medium I can express myself through performance is sort of something that I just gravitate towards, and that's dancing and acting and so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm just a very passionate, creative person.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and
Yeah, of
we'll
course, man.
your input. Um, how did you start acting?
How did I start acting? Well, it's a funny story. I was actually a dancer before I was an actor. But I remember there was a moment in time where I had actually like quit dance and I stopped dancing for a period of time. And I remember actually watching TV and I saw a commercial with this little black boy, right? And he was leading the commercial. And I was like, that's cool. Like, that could be me. You know, I've always kind of had that mentality where it's like, I could do it too, right? So I saw him, and it was the first time I think I saw someone that looked like me on like a commercial, I guess. I was probably maybe in like the 7th or 8th grade or something. So I saw that, and I think a month later, I saw one of my boys on a commercial. So then I called him up. I was like, yo, man, I really want to do a commercial. Like, how did you do that? What's the process or whatever it is? And then he hooked me up with my agent. And then from there, I kind of was just doing commercials. And then I slowly transitioned into doing like acting auditions. So I'll do like episodics on like random television shows. And I went to an art school in high school called Wexford Collegiate School for the Arts. So I was pretty much acting for credits, but then after school, I would go to acting class. And, I was really just focused on the task at hand, because for me, when I feel like I really want to put my mind towards something, I really just put a lot of energy towards it. So my entire days were just filled with acting because I just want to get better. I just want to get more proficient at it. I wanted to understand it more. I wanted to hone in on my craft. So that's sort of just what I did, growing up, and it's kind of led me to where I'm at now.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Scarborough. So Scarborough, it's East Toronto, so East GTA. Scarborough, specifically Malvern in Scarborough. So I grew up. Yeah, man. I grew up in Scarborough, and I love Scarborough, and I represent Scarborough all the time, and I rep, Scarborough, and I'll always rep Scarborough because it molded me and it made me who I am as a man, as a person, as an artist. There's a lot of great talent that is in Toronto and Scarborough specifically. So, I'm very proud to be from that city.
Wicked. What
Yeah.
was the first gig that you booked that you can remember?
As an actor,
Yeah.
my first gig, it was, I got a role on The Firm. So I'm not sure if you remember The Firm. It was with Josh Lucas.
Yes.
I think it was on like USA Network, I think, or I don't know, something like that. I don't know, but it was. I was on the pilot episode, and my character was kind of like the catalyst for everything that kind of happened in The Firm. So that was my first like real gig, and
How
then I
old
did
were
little
you?
things on like. I think I was in like the 9th grade, man. So ninth grade, I
Okay.
think you're what, 15, 16, something like that.
Right.
14, 15, I'm not sure. But yeah, that was kind of like my first real acting gig. And then after that, I would just get like episodics. So I did an episodic on Mary Kills People. I did an episodic on Degrassi. I did, just like all the Toronto kind of shows and the little episodic characters that you were able to audition for and get. I think I probably did like maybe 3 or 4 of those.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
Did you study after high school? Did you do any like post acting classes, studying any type of thing like that?
Well, you know what? I was actually privileged enough so post high school, right? So mind you, throughout high school, I'm training, and I'm training in school, I'm training outside of school. I have private coachings, I have classes, and I'm doing it all. Then after high school, I was lucky enough to have booked the next step. And that actually, so I graduated high school in June and I started the first season of the next step in July. So I was lucky enough to actually get firsthand acting class, actually being
Right.
on set. And
Right.
I think that's the best acting class that you can possibly give yourself. is actually doing it and being in front of the camera and actually being and working with other actors and, just learning as you go, I think is truly just the best way that you can learn. So I was lucky enough to get that. And, I ended up doing over 100 episodes with the Next Step. So the amount of set experience that I was able to gain from that experience is priceless, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell me about that. That's Disney, right?
Yeah. So it was on Family Channel in Canada, but it was like Disney International. I think it was on Hulu in the States. So yeah, I mean, it was a crazily popular show. Like I remember, doing the first season, and I don't think any of us really knew exactly what the show was gonna be. Like I think we thought it was gonna be really cool, but we didn't know that it was gonna be something like as big as it was. So we did the first season, and the first season was coming out, and we're like, okay, cool. It's obviously a show that we're really proud of, and it kind of marries dance and acting all together. So all of us were actually dancers. So it was amazing for us to be able to dance and showcase ourselves on that platform.
Right.
So it premiered, and the premiere was like the biggest, I think, Friday night premiere that Family Channel ever had, or something like that, right? And just like blew ratings, and we're just all like, oh my God, okay, cool. And I remember the first time that I realized that the show was really, really popular, we did like a mall tour. So we did a mall tour across Canada. So we just hopped in malls just across Canada, just to kind of, I guess, maybe gauge or see, whatever. Malls were packed. I remember going to the mall and not realize, like, it's pretty crazy how popular the show was, and how much kids connected to these characters and the stories and everything. And it was really beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When you're based in LA right now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
When did you decide to make that move?
I decided to make the move to LA when I realized that most of my work and my auditions were in LA, right?
Mm.
So a lot of my auditions would come in and it would just be for LA, so I'd have to self-tape and then send it off. And I also know the value of being in the room, right? And having casting directors just be familiar with your face and your work, and also just for them to also work you out at the same time, just in front of them. So say if you come into an audition and, you make choices and you come into an audition with something that you've prepared, and they want to give you a note, right? It's easier for you to show them that you can make adjustments on the fly when you're in the room than for it to be on the tape. You can still show them that on the tape, but it just takes a bit more, right? As opposed to you being in the room and being there and they'll be like, okay, that was great, but, maybe remember that you love this person. So maybe lighten it up, or, but this person really did something. So maybe, get a bit more upset in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
and you can show them that, okay, cool. You can make those adjustments and literally just give it to them, So I did understand the value in that. So I just went out to LA, I had to do my rounds. I went out, I was auditioning, and,
I was going to say, what was your process? To facilitate that? So you just decided, okay, I want to go there, and then what?
yeah. I decided I wanted to go there. So the first thing that I ended up doing was I would just pick up and go for months at a time. So I didn't actually commit to completely moving there, signing a lease and doing all that sort of thing. I just went there for months at a time. So I'd be there for maybe 3 months. So I'd stay for 3 months and I would go and I would just audition as much as possible, right? And for me, what was satisfactory was going into the room and casting saying that I had a good read. I didn't care if I got a call back. I didn't care if I got a chemistry read test. I booked it. It didn't really matter to me. For me, as long as I went into the room and I got good feedback from casting, that was great for me, because I knew I had to do my rounds, right? I had to pay my dues, essentially. And I understood that I need to do that. So yeah, that's kind of just what I did at first. And then, yeah, Kings kind of, well, no, this was actually post Kings, because I didn't actually go out to LA before Kings. So I guess we can jump back to Kings.
Yeah.
What that situation was, yeah, I was still in Toronto. This is when I just got my manager.
Yeah, I was gonna say, your Toronto folks didn't want you to go out there at first, right?
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, the agent that I actually had at the time, they had just told me that I wasn't ready to go out to LA, whether it be, they didn't think I was ready talent wise, or because I didn't have my visa, or whatever the case may be. They just didn't think that me going to LA was a good idea. But I had to obviously go against the grain, which I kind of have to do sometimes because, for me, once again, I'm extremely determined. And, a lot of the times, you kind of have to make your own, you have to carve your own path, and a lot of the times people can be there to advise you of things, but ultimately it comes down to you and what you want to do and how bad do you actually want it and what's the risk that you're going to take to get it. So for me, I understood that that was a risk that I needed to take. So I just booked a flight and I went out there, and I took some meetings, and I signed with my manager that I'm still currently with. And from there, I went back to Toronto, and I was just auditioning from Toronto, sending tapes off and things like that. I would still get auditions in Toronto, but some of my auditions were in LA. And then I think maybe 3 months after I signed with my manager, Kings came around, and that was actually the first time that we worked together, on Kings actually. Yeah, and we and the audition was, it was very improv based. The director wanted me to just improvise a little bit, just add my own to the script. The sides were very loose, and she was just like, improvise and add your own thing to the character. So I remember actually working with you, and I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and just even just the way we work. Most of the time that we spend is not in front of the camera. Most of the time that we spend is talking about the scene, talking about the story, talking about the character, talking about the decisions, talking about the motivations, talking about all these things. And then when we get in front of the camera, we do like 2 takes, and usually it's like the first take that we use, it's like, and every other take is kind of just us maybe just trying to explore something else that, I guess maybe later on we're like, yeah, well, what, it doesn't actually need that. And or whatever the process may be that we discuss, but it's quite beautiful. So yeah, the process for Kings, it was beautiful because I came from a theater background, and to be able to workshop and find things, is a process that I really, really enjoy, workshopping. So, working with you, we just kind of established that type of relationship. That's kind of what we do. We literally just workshop everything, come in, and then we just kind of talk it out, really, the story, and, and then we find something, and then we just put it on tape. So that's what the process was for Kings. And yeah, it kind of happened. And yeah, that was my first like real booking. And it was incredible because that was also alongside Halle Berry. And I was just over the moon to hear that because I didn't know anything,
You know what? Give me 1 second. I'm going to share. I think I'm going to pull up. There we go. So, desktop. Here is. Oh, we got to watch an ad.
Reese, but yeah.
8 seconds. Whoa. Oh, yeah. It's a great trailer, man. I checked it out earlier today. This is for Kings.
The Kings trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that on screen?
I can see it. I learned so much on this project. It's insane.
Enough of this. Boy, what the hell are you doing out here?
Woo!
Hey, what are you doing?
Tiger, Ruben, and Peaches.
You agree that we won't have to meet any more kids. But his mother is in jail. You can't leave that boy out there like that.
Boys, can you please come in here and help me set the table?
If you can't get them to shut up, we are gonna have an all-out brawl. Okay, everybody outside now. Come on, it's not that bad. It's not the end of the world.
My kids are here. Oh my God.
I'm gonna cost those foods. Sorry. No.
just heard on CBS News. 4 officers charged in the Rodney King incident are found not guilty.
You taking this to the streets?
So you in?
No, she's not.
Someone's gotta take the blame.
Best thing to do in any situation is do what you want to do.
Things will never be the same.
Ooh.
And it burns as it goes down. It burns when it comes back around.
I don't want you outside. Where is everybody else?
Everyone can sell the streets.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, really cool, man.
Yeah, I'm like super proud of that film, and it means a lot to me, you know, just because of
Were you
simply
starstruck when you got onto set with Hallie and Daniel Craig?
I was definitely starstruck with Hallie. I wasn't that starstruck with Daniel.
Yeah.
You know, but I was still like, this is crazy that I'm working with these people. But I remember actually the first day that Holly came to set, because I think 3 days before she came. So I had already been working for 3 days, and then she came for the fourth day when we were doing some stuff in the house. And I remember the first time she came in, it was kind of like, yo, like, this is Halle Berry. Like, this is crazy, you know? But she was so warm. She was so nurturing, you know, she made me feel so comfortable, you know. And I just remember you know, constant conversations that we have all the time, you know, when we have like, whenever they're setting up cameras or something, we kind of go off to the side and just like have conversations and talk. And, you know, she's such a beautiful person. I've learned so much from her on the set, not even just from her, but just watching her, you know. She is just so good. Her access is incredible. I remember being in Video Village for one of her scenes, because I was rapping. I'm like, I don't want to miss the scene, so I stayed to watch her scene. And there was a scene that she had to cry or something like that. And I remember just sitting there watching, and, you know, she was obviously doing her, because she does, like, you know, she comes from, I guess maybe like a similar background, but their process of breathing was something that I was like, okay, I really wanted to just focus on and tap into. She's very, like, she breathes, and like, it's like a physical process for her, which is amazing, because then she gets there, and then when they call action, she's so on it. Like, it just comes. Cut. She cleans herself up. Boom. Action. Like, on every time. Like, she didn't miss. And I was like, oh my God, you know, like I wish to, you know, have that type of access, you know, on command like that, you know. So that was just a really, really big thing for me. Yeah, I learned so much from that set, you know. I learned so much. I'm very grateful for that experience.
I want to, you know what, I'm going to just show a little quick clip of our, I found our,
There you go.
you remember when we did our work session for Kings?
Work session?
We shot, we shot your scenes. Remember you came in, we did a bunch of...
Oh, yeah.
So just to set this up for anybody who's watching, so Lamar came in, and before he went to shoot, we came in, and I do this with a lot of actors who book parts. We come in and we just shoot all the scenes from the script back to back to back, and you could see for this exercise, we did 3 takes for each scene, and each take I got him to just go a little bit more... just a little bit bigger and a little bit bolder, just to see how it played out. So this was the first scene of you just walking into the kitchen with the.
Man, I haven't watched this in. Wow. Okay.
Have you all gone crazy? What kind of sickness is this?
Oh yeah, that's the first scene. Do you see me?
Okay, so that's your low key version right there. And then we got a little bit more of like,
Have y'all going crazy? What kind of sickness is this? Get down! Hey, now get off that shit!
and then this third one, I think I got you to dance or something.
Oh yeah, I think like a spin or something. I did like a. Yeah.
But you see right there how when your action is interrupted, the bigger action that gets interrupted, the better
Right. The better the the
right?
interruption.
So you were fully into that dance thing, and then all of a sudden you were like, what? And then
Yeah.
so it's just throwing that obstacle in your way for that beat that you know is coming. Is
Right.
And then you even threw the headphones down. Right?
Yeah.
Jesse, baby, get up. I said, get up. No, not yet. Up, rise and shine. I'll be out delivering cakes.
You know, even that simple scene, we messed
Yeah,
around.
I know.
And we made it different, right?
Shit. Okay, thanks.
Oh, that was when they called for your mom,
Yeah,
right?
they called for the
Yeah, the child services people.
And then this is when the kitchen the popcorn was on fire.
That's right.
No,
Oh yeah, and this is the scene. This scene was actually kind of a little difficult to shoot when we actually shot it because everything was all one shot. So I had to pick up the phone, go on the floor. I had to tie what is the kid's shoes? And
Oh,
then
yeah.
at that point, I then see the fire. I have to drop the phone. I run around because like there was a wall that separated the dining room from the kitchen. I had to run around the wall, get to the kitchen, all in one shot. Grab the, it was a process. But
Yeah,
I just remember
yeah.
the scene.
Yeah.
You trying to say? Okay, thanks. Oh, shit.
House on fire.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody out! Okay.
But look at that scene. You come in, you do all this stuff. You said one word, okay, and just with
Okay,
your,
yeah.
it's so strong.
Yeah.
You know that something's going on, right?
All right, you guys can come back in now.
The intention's so clear, man. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah. The looseness of which you play, and it's just that's one of the things that I find so special about you is the ability to hone in on the moments and not get bogged down by the fact that a whole scene's coming at you. You take your time,
Right.
and you hunt those beats, and then and I could tell you don't know how it's gonna go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, but also, I shouldn't, like you like, well, you do, but you also shouldn't, you shouldn't be able to tell. You shouldn't be able to tell that I know what's about to come or what the information or the reaction that I'm going to have,
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I just enjoy playing, man. And
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about you're one of those actors who you're a picky actor. You know, you don't just go out. I mean, and I want to talk about that. I think that's one of the things that actors really need to start sort of like picking up on is, knowing what they want to go out for, knowing who they are, what they want to go out for, and and not just trying to go for anything and everything. Although I know, when actors are trying to get experience, they're trying to figure that out. But with you, talk to me a little bit about, you've turned down a lot of like auditions, roles. Barry Jenkins wanted you to audition for his what was the slave movie? You didn't want to do it.
Underground Railroad.
Underground Railroad. They approached Lamar to audition for it. He refused. This is like the Oscar-winning director, and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. With a good reason, didn't you? You wrote a letter too and everything, I believe, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, everything is always, whenever I say no, there is always a reason behind it, right? It's never just me being like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
There's always, there's always something behind my no. So it's always a no because of this reason, right? And yeah, I definitely made sure that I wrote a letter, and I just let them know that, because for me, I mean, I had that experience with Barry prior to that moment, right? So for me, I know that there's a world where, Barry and I work on something, right? So with Underground Railroad, I just felt, a specific way just about the narrative specifically, but also because, I didn't really want that to be the thing that I work with Barry on. I wanted something, I wanted it to be something else, right? Something a bit more.
Do you guys hear that? For anybody who's listening to this, he didn't want that project to be the project he worked with Barry Jenkins on, and that's hard that's a hard thing to justify for a lot of actors, where they would be like, "What are you, crazy?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it all comes down to, me betting on myself. Barry Jenkins, he's incredible, and he's going to have a very long career. He got a lot of notoriety from Moonlight, and Moonlight won, what is that, 2016, 2017, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, only a few years ago, right? So he's going to have a very, very long career and a lot of projects that he will manifest, write, direct, produce, So it's kind of a thing where, I just bet on myself to know that an opportunity will come around, that I'll be right for it, that it would just make sense. But yeah, it really all comes down to that, just having full faith in yourself, your ability, your trajectory, yeah, that's just really kind of what it boils down to for me.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the latest thing that you just finished working on, the Your Honor.
Your Honor, yeah, that is going to be on Showtime. That is produced and starring Bryan Cranston. So he was in Breaking Bad. So that's where, obviously a lot of people know him, but he's incredible, and he's been doing this for a very, very long time. That's also another person that I watch, and I'm just like, dude, you're so good. But yeah, I was in New Orleans. I was out there for maybe like 2 months, 2.5 months, a little bit like that. And yeah, it's a limited series, 10 episodes on the series. I am a recurring character on the show, and I'm in 4 out of the 10 episodes. And that story, even how that audition, and all that came about, is also really interesting. So, I got the audition, and, as PJ, you mentioned, I'm quite picky, and I'm very specific in terms of the things that I audition for and the projects that I'm a part of, just because I really want the projects that I'm a part of.
And let's be clear, Lamar didn't become that way once he started booking parts. Lamar was that way from the get-go.
No, I've always been that way.
No, he was that way from the get-go, and he's taken flack from his agents in Toronto, and even his
absolutely.
At times. And he's like, I'm sorry, I got to do what I got to do. Sorry, continue.
No, absolutely. I've always been that way, just with everything. I'm very particular. I'm the type of person that I just know what I want. I just really know what I want. There's an end goal for me, right? I'm not just doing it just for the sake of doing it and because it's fun to do. I love to do it truly, but there's an end goal, right? It's just like people when they say, you're only as good as your last project. It's because it's like you never want to sit into that thing where it's like, okay, I did such a great job on this project. Now I'm, it's like, okay, cool, this is great, but then how are you going to top yourself? What's next? There's always this ongoing thought of like, okay, cool, well, what's next? And yeah, for me, there's just an end goal, right? So, for instance, working on Kings and working with Halle Berry, that is incredible. And I'm super, super grateful for that experience. But then once I received it, it's like, okay, cool. Well, what's next? What bigger impact can I make? What more stories can I tell? What more important stories can I tell? What more great people can I work and learn from? What more, directors can I work and learn from? It's really just always being a student and always just soaking up the information and always, trying to progress and move myself forward. But we were talking about, what project was it that we were just talking about?
Your honor and how you.
Your honor, yes.
I remember when you got the audition for that, and they wanted you to audition for Kofi at first, and you didn't. Yes. You refused. You fought with them.
Yeah, no. So they had reached out and they wanted me to audition for Kofi, a character named Kofi, and then another character named Eugene. So they wanted me to audition for both characters and just give 2 reads. And, I was reading the breakdown for both these characters. And to me, I just personally connected with Eugene more just because of his background, just what he's into, the type of person that he is, and so on, or just based off of the information that was given, right? And Kofi, he just was a bit too like your stereotypical kind of, and we also didn't get a lot of information on these characters or their arcs or where they're going. It was sort of just like a couple scenes, that we got for audition. So I'm kind of basing my decision based off of the material that I was given. But I just didn't really connect with him. So I had decided to go in for Eugene only. So then I go into an audition and I went in for Eugene. And I remember, doing my first scene, casting was like, beautiful. I love it. Perfect. No notes. I'm like, okay, great. Did my second scene, same thing. Great. No notes. Third scene, great. No notes. And at the end, she was like, Lamar, you're like, she's like, Lamar,
she's like, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. She's like, Lamar, you're so good, but you're going to be too old for this role. You're going to play too old for this role. I know what producers and everyone's going to say. They're going to say that you're great and you're fantastic, but you're just too old for the role. You should read for Kofi, right? The other role that I had said no to. And, I explained to her why I had said no. I was like, no, I said no for these reasons. And, and she's like, well, you know what? I completely understand. I actually respect that, whatever. But trust me, Lamar, this is a great role. Like, trust me, Lamar, this is a fantastic role. He has a great arc. And, this is a really good role. Can you please just come in tomorrow and just do the read? Please, I'll set it up. I'll reach out to your team and schedule something, but just, could you please just come out tomorrow and, read for it? And I was like, okay, fine. Cool. I'll do it. I'll do it because also this is my first time reading for this casting director. And, I wanted to just, just in good faith, but like, you know what? Cool. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I went in the next day and, I read for it. And she was like, yeah, it was great. I didn't hear anything for maybe about 3 weeks. So at that point, I thought that, I didn't really get the job. And then after 3 weeks, they call me back for a callback. But the thing is, during those 3 weeks or a month or something like that, I came back to Toronto. So I was in Toronto at the time that I got the callback. So when I got the callback, I had said, okay, cool, but I'm going to put it on tape. Like, I'm not going to, I was planning on being in Toronto for a specific amount of time or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. Great, but I'm just going to put it on tape and I'll send it off. And casting was cool with that. Like, okay, cool.
Again, note that he had a callback and he was like, no, sorry, I can't be there. I'm going to be somewhere else. So I'll just tape the callback. That's.
Yeah. It's essentially because a lot of the times, like the only time that I probably, I have done it, but the only time I probably wouldn't have done that is if they're like, okay, yeah, this is a director session or producer session. And, there's going to be, the team is going to be in the room. So, but if it's just a callback and, casting is going to be there, I think a tape would suffice for that, So, we worked together on the callback, and we put the tape together. And then, I sent in the tape and probably how long after did we? Yeah, well, I sent him the tape, and I think maybe about like 2 weeks after I got
Yeah,
the call that I
yeah,
booked it.
yeah. I
Something
remember.
like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it took a little while for us
It
to hear
took a little
the
while. I
call
remember
back.
it
We
took a
got the
little
call
while.
back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And in the
It took a little
meantime,
while.
didn't you? And then in the meantime, didn't that Amazon thing came in the meantime? Didn't it?
Yes, that is
That's
right.
when we
Yeah,
did the
that's right.
first. That's when we did the first round of auditions for the Amazon project, which is it's probably
Yes.
my favorite story out of all the bookings that the project we actually didn't do because it was a project. Lamar got it. It was for Amazon, and he was just so wrong for the part. It was written for a Jewish. That was the Jewish boy, right?
Yeah, and it was even referenced in the scripts. Like, yeah,
It
and
was it was
yeah.
a
I
bit,
mean, I
it was
had
kind of like an ethnic Jewish boy part, and they had Lamar audition for it, and I was like, you're just totally wrong for this, but
yeah.
since we're gonna do it, let's do something different with it. Let's do what Lamar would. Let's make this character Lamar, and yeah, go ahead, take it away.
So essentially, they just wanted to just, I guess, not really. Well, the thing is, I had a meeting with the director, and I had read the script, and I remember actually reading the script, and I think I called you or something, and I was just talking to you about the script, or I was talking
Yeah.
whatever, and we had just discussed. We're like, yeah, this doesn't feel right at all. And I just wanted to kind of call you just to make sure I wasn't going crazy when I'm reading this. I'm like, this just doesn't feel right at all. And I think personally, like, you're probably the person that, just knows me as an actor, because we work so closely on a lot of different auditions and projects,
Yeah.
and I was just like, yeah, man, what do you think about this? Because these reasons that are done, you're like, yeah, dude, this is not right. I'm like, okay, well, I thought I was tripping, but yeah, this is not right. So we kind of talked about it, and I had told him, I told the director, I was like, you know, this is awesome, and I really love these things about the movie, but I just feel character-wise, I just don't really connect with this because, just me naturally playing this role, it will be different. Just simply because I am not Jewish, I don't have these specific experiences or whatever. So that is going to bleed through my work, and I wanted to be honest, So I was having this conversation with him, and he was like, dude, like, and he fell in love with, I guess, my take on this character.
But that didn't happen for a while because like 2 months later they passed on it for a while and then they came back.
Yeah. So originally they had passed, and then they came back,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, whatever. And yeah, they had like my take on the character, and what they wanted me to do was essentially rework everything.
Yeah.
They wanted me to rework everything and present it to them essentially. And I remember getting that and hearing that, and I was a little turned off by it just because, like, so then would that mean that every single scene I would have to look at and dissect, on top of, the work that I would have to do every single day on set as an actor? Am I a writer? Like, am I like what?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
then,
So
and I just felt like,
the story,
yeah, I just,
responsible for the dynamics of the yeah.
yeah, there's just a lot of work would have just had to been put into it, and like you said, it was around the same time as Your Honor as well, and it would have interfered scheduling wise. So once again, it circles back to me saying, you know what, I will bet on myself because I decided not to do that Amazon project in hopes for me to book Your Honor, and I ended up booking Your Honor. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta take risk. And to be honest, Your Honor was such an amazing decision for me. And I'm so grateful that I did audition for Kofi. And I'm so grateful that I did do that and have that experience, because the experience that I had on set and what that role specifically in the arc gave me was something that no other project has given me before. And I'm so grateful for the journey that project took me on.
Yeah. And what's the status of that project right now? When does it come out?
That I don't know, because they still haven't finished the entire series. So they had halted because of the pandemic and COVID. They had stopped production, but I think they're actually going back into production very soon. So hopefully I'll know more about like solid dates and things like that shortly.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure. I'm thinking probably sometime next year. Probably like quarter one or quarter two, or I'm not too sure.
What kind of actor would you consider yourself?
I don't know. I feel like maybe you can answer that question better, you know? Like, I don't know. I like to say I'm very like instinctive.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you're kind of you border like the method a little bit, except you're not an asshole when you leave set.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I think you live your characters. That you were messed up, bro. You were messed
Dude, in
up.
New Orleans, I was so messed up. I tell people all the time, like, you know what? I was messed up over there. I'm not even gonna lie.
After you called me when you finished,
I got sick, man.
Bro. Yeah.
Oh, I got sick. I was sick for the next week. You know, just because of how much I gave.
Yeah.
In that I gave so much. I just gave so much, and I was so depleted. But I was so proud. I was so proud. You know, just that was. You know, obviously, every single day that I work is very, very, very important to me. You know, every single day is very important to me. Even the smallest of scenes, I want to make sure that have I really like, you know, is there something that I can, you know, and obviously simple is obviously better and always better. But there are always times that, you know, I just try and look at a scene and I'm like, okay, how many different ways can we, you know, and this is also what we work on together as well, which is why I say the workshop that we do and how we workshop these scenes before we even get it on camera is amazing, because I do look at scenes and I'm like, okay, well, what are the different angles that I can get here? You know, is there something that I can layer in here to make this a bit more dynamic, or, you know, to really inform maybe the scene that's happening that's going to happen next, or the scene that happened prior? Is there anything that I can do to, you know? But I remember actually being on set of Your Honor, and that day specifically of the big scene. And I woke up nervous. I was in transpo going to set nervous. You know, I felt like butterflies in my stomach because I put a lot of pressure on myself to, you know, I couldn't only arrive, I had to show up.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't.
Yeah, wait. Let's back up. Dude, you just said it right there, man. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference is you can't just arrive. You have to show up.
You have to show up. You know, you can't just arrive and be like, all right, I'm on set. I booked the job. All right, cool. It's like, no, once you get the job, the work then just starts. You know, you really got to show up every day. You got to show up every day, you know? So for me, I just knew that in this moment, in this scene, in these circumstances, I have to show up. Right. And it was a circumstance that I've personally never experienced before. So there's also added pressure because I had to do a lot of research and I had to do all of that sort of thing in order for me to make it honest, you know, because I never want to feel as though I'm putting on something. I always wanted to feel honest and organic and natural, you know. So yeah, I mean, I was a little nervous because of all the research that I was doing and the questions that I was asking, and you know, but yeah, you know, the time came and you know, I really showed up, and I was super proud of myself for the depth that I was able to get, because I've never been challenged that way before. You know, in order for me to get there. So I'm really grateful for the experience. But yeah, it really fucked me up. I got sick. It really fucked me up. Yeah, but you know, very grateful for it to now live, and that it lived, you know.
What was the most meaningful role that you've ever played, would you say?
The most meaningful role, I'd probably say 7 in The Hate U Give.
Okay, yeah.
I'd probably say 7 in The Hate U Give, not only because of the narrative of the movie, but I think what he meant for the dynamic of the family, what he meant for Star, you know, the relationship that he had with his father. You know, in the book, 7 actually doesn't, if you read the book, there's a lot of context that is taken out of the movie, of course. But 7, his mother is actually not, well, I mean, you see it in the movie, Aisha, right? But it gets a lot more deeper in the book. But, you know, Aisha, he doesn't really have the best, you know, mother, right? His father is really, really is holding it down for him, you know, and he learns a lot from his father because his father is so strong, and Russell Hornsby does a fantastic, fantastic job.
Yeah.
He just absolutely, like, you know, once again, you know, I'm so, once again, I'm very grateful to be able to work with the people that I work with on the projects that I do, because, you know, I'm a very visual person, so I learn by watching. So I'm just so thankful that I get to just watch these incredible, incredible artists work and be vulnerable and be, you know, powerful and be, you know, and feel all these things and really just watch them and watch their process. You know, how does this person get there? You know, how can it, like, I just want to, you know, what does he do? What is he, you know? And I learned a lot just by watching, you know? So even my process that I have now, like, for instance, when I'm on set, or if I have something, or I have a big scene that day, my process, I learned a lot through, you know, through watching and learning from, like, you know, the likes of Howdy or Brian or, you know, Daniel or Russell, or, you know, I just learned so much from these people.
I mean, since we've been working together, I don't know, I think we've booked a bunch of roles. Kings, The Hate You, X-Men, Dark Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
LAMAR actually booked, it was a multi-movie deal. And then it ended up being one movie because they ended up selling it to, who did they sell it to again?
Yeah. So Disney bought Fox.
That's right.
So Disney ended up buying Fox, and I guess Disney wanted to take the direction of the X-Men franchise in a different direction. So they had kind of canceled the plans of, I wouldn't really say a spin-off, but they were to introduce new characters into the X-Men world and, you know, I guess start following these characters. And I was one of those characters, but because of the new direction of the film, they had cut all the introduction of the new characters and all the things. Like, I was on set, I was, you know, using my powers. I was like throwing fireballs and stuff on set, you know. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We shot it in Montreal, and the experience was a lot of fun, you know.
Wait, didn't Barry Jenkins go to see you in Montreal when you were on the set of X-Men?
Yeah. So I had auditioned for If Beale Street Could Talk.
That's right.
And actually, it's really crazy. And it's really crazy because I was actually in Montreal shooting X-Men, and I think I had like 2 days off. So I hopped on a train, and I took a train to Toronto to actually do the tape for Barry Jenkins with PJ. I remember that specifically. Like, I hopped on like a 5-hour train. So I can just be in the room to workshop with you, because, you know, I just know how we work, and I know that it would just heighten the tape, you know. And I really wanted to give a really strong, solid tape, you know, to Barry, and we sent off that tape. And yeah, you know, his team got back to us, and they're like, "What? Who's this guy? Whatever. Where's he from?" And started asking a lot of questions. And then we told him that I was in Montreal shooting X-Men, and you know, he just so happened to be in Montreal. And you know, we sat down, we had dinner, and we talked about the role, and he just, you know, got to know me a bit better. And yeah, you know, he gave me some notes on a callback, and I did the callback. It didn't end up going my way, but it went to my homie that I grew up with, my brother.
No, that was
super.
We tried for a long time for that.
Which, the role?
For Beale Street.
Yeah, we had a couple back and forths.
That was the one where we tried to make you older. Wasn't that the one we tried to make you older?
Because they had they had four options, right? And they were mixing and matching with the girls and so on and so forth. And keep in mind, the girl was the lead, right? So the guy that it wasn't determined, you know, like the girl was the lead. So whoever they chose for the girl, it had to match up. But I'm so grateful that Stefan, he booked that role. You know, he did a fantastic job. And you know, I'm just so happy that, you know, one of my people got the role, you know. And to be honest, you know, for my people, my brothers, you know, their wins are my wins, you know. So that was a big win for me. And going to the theater and watching him on the screen, it was amazing. yeah, it was yeah. I mean, that was such a beautiful movie. Barry Jenkins is an incredible filmmaker, and I hope to work with him in the future.
Tell us about Vogue magazine. How did you score? How did you score the Vogue magazine that you did last year?
Oh, that was actually
That's so
like
cool.
my publicist, man. My publicist is just awesome. She's great. And yeah, she kind of hit me up. She's like, "Hey, there's this Vogue opportunity, blah blah blah. This is what it is, and they would like to invite you for this kind of young Hollywood photo shoot." So they had invited a lot of people from, I guess, young Hollywood or in Hollywood that are doing things, or so on and so forth. So yeah, I was a part of that photo shoot, and there was a whole bunch of people, in that photo shoot.
Oh, let me see. I think. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Wait, where is it? Oh,
It's on the right side.
I know, but oh, that's why. Come on, man. Doesn't want to.
It doesn't want to show.
Doesn't want to show it up. It doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
That's anyway. You're kind of in there. Yes. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it.
Who's in this photo? Clockwise. Camilla Morone, Charlotte Lawrence, Casey Cott, Grace Hartzell, Charles Melton, Kendall Jenner, actor Lamar Johnson, Charlie Plummer, Joe Keery. That's wicked.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was a cool shoot. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So if you wait, where's my questions? What advice would you give to a young Lamar now that you know what you know today? What would you have done differently, if anything?
If I was to do anything different, I would just say keep following your intuition, and I have actually been doing that, but, just really just follow through with it. Whatever you're feeling is usually right because it's been right, like your feeling on things have usually been right. So, just keep following your intuition. Your intuition is your internal guide. It's your, it's that voice inside of you that is trying to guide you, in a way that is very honest and is very truthful to you and your truth, So I feel like listening to that is really important.
What is your approach to your relationship with your representation?
My representation, meaning like my team?
Your agent, yeah, your team. Like, what's
the representation of like
your
my
agent?
approach to my team? Yeah, I mean, really what it is, it's just, I mean, at the beginning, it was really just about getting them to understand my taste and my taste level, and what it is that I want to do, what it is that I won't do, what it is that, I'm interested in, what are my goals, what is the trajectory that I want to get to. I think it's important for them to know that. What's your long term, because a lot of the things are micro, but what's the macro? You got to know what the big picture is, and for them to know where I'm going, so that we can go there together, so that there's no confusion to, why I'm making this decision that I'm making, or why I feel very strongly about this, or why so at the beginning it was really just about kind of just creating that understanding, and, just getting them to understand what my taste is and where I want to go, and how serious I take myself. That's also very, very important. I take what I do very seriously. And I believe in myself a lot. And I think it's also important for you to have people on your team that believe in you just as much as you believe in yourself. Believe that you can get to the places that you in your heart that you are going to get, to have that support system is very important. And yeah, that's kind of just what my approach is there.
Did you always know that you wanted to leave Canada, Toronto, to go to LA? Did you always know that?
No, I had no idea. I really
Yeah.
didn't have any idea. But for me, once again, I'm always thinking of like, okay, well, what's next? Always trying to think bigger. So I knew there's a specific point in time that I had felt that I hit a ceiling in Toronto, and I knew that I needed more
Let's talk.
in order
Let's
for
talk
me to
about
go.
that for a second.
Yeah.
What is the ceiling in Toronto?
What is the ceiling in Toronto? I mean, I feel like, Canada in general doesn't really have a star system, or they don't have a lot of money that goes into entertainment, right? I mean, of course, Canada has entertainment, right? But just not, you can't really, how can I say this? There's,
Can you make a living in
it's
Canada
hard.
as an artist or an actor just in Canada?
Sorry, say that again.
Can you make a living in Canada as an artist just being in Canada?
You can, but it's rare. It's rare that you can truly make a living being in Canada, and working on Canadian productions specifically. I mean, like, you definitely can. It's possible, because even on The Next Step, I was making a living off of The Next Step, and that was,
But it was it
but
was an American show. But still, but it was shot here.
yes. I mean, it was a Canadian show. It was
Oh, was it
licensed to like, yeah.
I see. Canadian production.
Disney had picked, yeah, right,
Fair.
right.
Okay, so no,
it was
that's truly a Canadian show. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
it was a Canadian show, so it is quite possible.
Yeah.
It is very possible.
Yeah.
But it would have to be like a series, and it would have to be something that's really
And also, it
consistent.
was
You got to be.
Disney too. So I think that was very beneficial. If The Next Step was just like a CBC Global type of thing, there's no way that it would have had the following that it had, right? You guys.
Yeah, because also keep in mind we did a lot of tours. We sold like merchandise to like Walmart and stuff like that. So there was a lot of like,
right.
residual kind of like things like that were coming from the show, which then helped with making a living and things like that. But yeah, I mean, also just the contracts in general are just nowhere close to what they like a Canadian contract versus an American network television contract. That's just complete. It's very, very different. But it's because they're invested that way, right? There is money that is going towards their entertainment and their star system, right? Which is why it's much easier for you to make a living and for you to make it in America. That's why they call it the land of opportunity. But the grind is real. There's a lot of people. If you're leaving Toronto's a small pond, right? So in order for you to make it in Toronto, I would say I don't want to say easier, because nothing is easy, right? You always got to work for everything. But it's an easier feat. It's easier for you to really kind of make a stakehold and name in Toronto than for you to go to LA and do that for yourself, because everything is 10 times. There's 10 times more people. There's 10 times more actors. There's 10 times more everything. So you're now going against even more people. So for you to stand out, you really gotta, hone in, and really, really craft it and find what it is that you bring to the table and hone in on that and make people fall in love with it. Yeah.
Just going back to the making a living point, we don't get residuals here in Canada when we work on stuff.
Yep.
I think that's a really big deal. Like I still get
absolutely
every month for American movies I did in the 2000s. Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg, Casino Jack, Stir of Echoes I did with Rob Lowe. I still get monthly checks for that, and it's like it's enough to pay bills every month. And these were big parts back in the day. I have one client who is actually a producer for the most part now, but still acts. This guy played small parts in really big movies in the 80s, and he makes thousands of dollars every month on residuals.
Oh yeah. In America, they pay residuals, right? So that's also just additional money on top of your fee or your payment, which is also great. So going back to what you're saying, it's a lot easier for you to make a living in America. Even just doing like commercials or something. Like you get residuals from commercials. So
big time.
Like, so you just get residuals doing almost absolutely everything. So Yeah, it's a lot easier, man. It is a lot easier, but I knew that I had to take that step. I knew that I had to get out to LA. And actually, the time that I had met with the manager that I'm with now, and I took manager meetings, was the first time ever going to LA. That was my first time I ever went to LA. First time I never went before ever, and I just knew that I had to go there, but I had to go there for a purpose.
You didn't have your papers when you went down the first time.
No, I didn't. I did not have my papers. I didn't have my visa. But I just went. I took the risk, right? And I was like,
agent told him that he wasn't ready to go, and he said, "Okay, I'm cutting you off, Toronto. No disrespect, I want to work anywhere." Went to LA, hooked up with his team, and then I would say probably you didn't even tell me that you didn't even tell me any of this. And this is the thing that I love about Lamar is that Lamar just does things and then calls me. He's like, "Yo, so I'm moving to LA." You didn't tell me that you got rid of your Toronto person at the time. You didn't tell me that you went and got this next person. You just started just coming back with auditions, and then later you're like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm with a new person." And then all this stuff happened. And I was like, damn, okay. Wow, this guy just doesn't talk about it, just comes back and just back to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, man. For me, it's always about the work. I feel like it should always be about the work. And of course, I make moves and things that I feel will benefit me in my career. And it's the type of person I am. I want to. Once again, it goes back to me saying, like, I want a team and people on my team to believe in me as much as I believe in myself, right? Yeah. So that, for me, was kind of just like, okay, cool, well, it's evident that you don't believe in me, because I'm here sitting down telling you, like, yo, I want to go to LA. This is what I want to do. These are the steps that I want to take, in order for me to better myself, my career, and grow. And you're telling me that I'm not ready or that you don't think I should go. I feel so strongly about this. So for me, I've always been the type of person where it's like, if I have my mind set to something, it's very hard for someone to, to steer me a different direction off of it. Right. So I was already set at that point, by the end of the meeting, I already knew exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So, I did it. And then once that kind of happened, then, I got to a place where this was after Kings had already came out. And a lot of people were kind of, seeing me and were interested in taking meetings and things like that. So once that started surfacing, I took a couple agency meetings, and then I met with the agents that I'm with now. Everything kind of just like took off from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember Matt was telling me, Matt is Lamar's manager, how he negotiated, and he never ended up doing the part. I won't even say the name of the show, but the show where Matt wanted a certain number.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
So Lamar auditioned for a guest star.
We actually said no.
Yeah, Lamar auditioned for a guest star for an American show. He didn't get the part, and then like 3 weeks, a month later, they called back and said, "We want to offer him. We love him. We want to offer him a guest lead on the show for what was it? 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah, it was like
it was a period of time. Anyways, it was a contract. Anyways, and so Matt, Lamar's manager, said, "You know what? We're going to require this much money for Lamar for the episode." And they were like, he told me, they were like, "So, sorry, how much?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be this much per episode." And they were like, Are you crazy?" They told him he was crazy. And I kid you not, they said, he doesn't have the resume. Why are you asking this much money? And Matt said, "I'm gonna send you his last 3 self-tapes."
Yeah.
And eventually,
it's the work,
you guys got the deal you wanted, and you still turned it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't want to be on that show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also just because at the beginning, so when I went to LA, I remember specifically having this conversation with Matt the first time that we sat down, and him asking me about, well, what's the direction? Where do you want to go? And so on and so forth. And I told him, like, listen, I just got off 4 seasons of a television show. I've been working on the show for 4 years. I'm not interested in television. I want to do film. I want to do features.
Boom.
That is my focus.
Boom.
I don't want to do pilots. I don't want to do
talking
nothing,
about.
because when you're doing television, you are locked in. and I don't want to be locked in at this time. I'm not saying I'm against television or I'm not ever going to do television, which is actually really funny that we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
But it was just something at the time that I knew, like, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what's my end goal? What's the trajectory that I want to get to?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just like,
hey, can you see this title that can you see this title that I'm messing with?
yeah, I can see it.
You see how I put the handcuffed on the booked?
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel about getting booked on stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're tied, right?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
and
So
it's not a bad thing, but you just got to know that when you're on, like, you are tied and you are expected.
Yeah, I think those things are it's timing, you know. Those things are it's timing, and I just felt like if I was to then do a pilot right off the bat, right off the jump, and got a pilot and got me a series that I signed 4, 5, 6, 7 years on, you know, that I wouldn't have been able to showcase myself in a whole bunch of different ways, right? And the reason why I wanted to do film is because that takes about 2 to 3 months to film, and then I'm done. Now for television, that's going to take me 6 to 10 months out of the year in order for me to, you know, so I felt that I could just do a lot more films in the year to showcase myself and my talent than to do 1 or maybe 2 projects, you know. So I just wanted to really just maximize my exposure, and with film, that's what you can do. And that was kind of just the focus for us. So we just did film. I just auditioned for films, you know, independent projects, commercial films, like just any type of feature, any type of film. That was really our focus. So I was never really out for pilot season. I was never really out for any of that. You know, just because, I mean, you know, we had a focus, we had a purpose behind what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. One word. What is it like working with me in one word?
What's it like to work with you in one word? I would say, it's, what's the word that's perfect? I know what I would say, but not one word.
Yeah, man.
It's, I mean, it's a lot of fun, you know, like
fun is a good word. I like that.
Fun. It's fun. You know, what I say is that my favorite thing about working with you is that you allow me to just not give a fuck, if that makes sense. Like if that makes sense, like in the best way possible. You give me permission to make decisions and not, you know, and feel good about those, and feel confident in decisions that I'm making, and not overthink them, or not feel, oh, well, maybe casting, or oh, maybe this is not right, or maybe it's like, no, how do you feel about it? Do it and have fun doing it. You know what I'm saying? Have fun, enjoy it, you know? Because a lot of the times those ones were the ones that we actually would get the callbacks from. Those are the ones that we booked. Those are the ones that we're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's fuck it. Let's do it. You know, let's do it. You know, have an idea, and it's like,
we always risk something. Every time we do something, we always risk something.
There's always a risk. Yeah.
Like maybe it being something like a little bit too something, and then that's the part where we just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? We're like, well, if it is, then they'll let us know. You know what I mean? Like it's not rocket science where they're like, oh, you made a choice. Oh, like, you know, they don't do that.
Yeah. No, and it's great, that we do that, because also I just keep learning that, and I carry that throughout everything that I do, even being on set. You know, I take a lot more risk, you know. You know, even just the decisions that I'm making, and so on and so forth. You know, they're just I just feel a lot more confident in the risks that I'm taking in auditions, being on set.
I think what we do, and I think you and I are really good at doing it, but I think is what I do with the studio is I'm always trying to cater to what I think the directors want. I'm like trying to pass the agents, pass the casting people.
But what you and I do
really good is we look at the director and we go, what would tickle this guy? How can we do like an inside joke in the audition to use it? To make only the director react to it, right?
Are gonna get it. Like we shoot it in ways, like there's scenes where it's like we're like, you know what? We're gonna shoot this like super close and really tight. And give it like the cinematic feel or energy to it, just to really pull you in, you know. So we do things like that, and we make those type of aesthetic choices as well as just acting choices, you know. So there's a lot that we play around with, man. Which is why
I'm gonna end it off on I'm gonna play them your C audition. I'm gonna end it off on the C audition. So why don't you
All right.
set up the audition for the show C? Tell them what it was.
Yeah. Okay, so the audition for the show C, it was an Apple series. And I actually ended up getting multiple auditions for this show because of this tape here. And I guess something that you should know before watching it is that this guy is blind. Every single person in this show is blind, so they cannot see anything. And yeah, I guess that's a segue into it. Yeah.
All right, so here I'm gonna pull it up, share screen. Here we go. You can see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Great. So this is Lamar's audition for C. This is an incredible piece of work here. It's quite lengthy. The whole thing's 5 minutes. It's two scenes.
It's very long.
But
the first scene is very, very long.
It's captivating as hell, I find. And watch Lamar dig into the beats. It's a monster of a scene. He doesn't think about it. He just digs in to each. And he's blind. He has nothing to look at. Like he's in no man's land doing this scene here. So here, check it out.
Who goes there? God, I smell the boy in the bushes. I'm tired of this fucking rope right now. A boy in need of an education. I am Tamakti Jun, the Witchfinder General, and my presence is customary to kneel. Forgive me, sir, but I am Gether Bax. It was me who sent you the message to come here. Well, then it is I who must apologize to you. Behold, our informant, a man who would betray his own tribe to fight the devil and do God's work. That I am indeed. Your message says you have referred to the Holy Guardians regarding a particular disciple of the devil who the whole of Queen Cain's army are now hunting. A heretic who Queen Cain herself has condemned to death. A conjurer who turns into a bird or a wolf sometimes. A devil who murdered Queen's own sister. Just tell us what you know about him. I learned from your heretics that there is a reward for information leading to his capture. So your motivation is not holy? A reward of a slave girl. And a royal permit for 2 slave dogs. Trained dogs. That is what I've heard. Though, actually, I would just settle for the girl. I hate dogs. You, reward will be your next breath if the Holy Guardians...
Whoa.
Okay, just speak. I need my throat.
Whoa.
My uterus will hear any lie like a foot through ice. No, I promise, sir. No ice I will break. Speak. At the end of winter, a woman wandered into our village. A stranger to us. We found her amongst our berry bushes. She said that she was Masquerade Folk tribe, but she spoke like a Payan. She said she got lost in the blizzard. She asked for us to take her in because she was 3 months pregnant. So we held a parliament, and the head of our village said that he would take care of her. He wasn't able to have children of his own. So they got married, and they've been together ever since. Well, quickly. Okay. Well, she did not say who the father of her child was. And when she came into the village, she was wearing a necklace. And it was goat leather. So that's a love token, right? Look, it has a name in it. Look, here, read.
You're trying to lead them into this inspiration. Hope.
You're LAMAR. Yes. Yes, that's the name of the heretic you've been seeking. Yes? And even now, in the village on the mountain, there was a woman giving birth to that devil's child. That Counts as information.
Holy. You dug a deep hole there, man.
Yeah.
You dug your way out of it.
She wouldn't speak, but she tied what she heard. There were three present: Baba Voss, Harris, and Magro.
Harris is queen of the coven. What did they discuss?
We talked about the babies.
Babies. One of the witch.
The babies. The feeding. The wailing, the cooing. Nothing else. That is what she said.
The shadow is lying. Perhaps she is a witch too.
You may be right. She may not answer my questions, but I will send news of a witch, and the witch finder can ask them all.
News? How will you send news?
It will flow downstream through a dozen different valleys. Who knows who will find it?
Ooh.
A beaver.
Ooh. Yeah.
Right?
Twice a day.
Yes.
3 times a day. And one day, our prayers will be answered.
Ooh.
But there are so many valleys and streams that will take years.
Perhaps. But at least there'll be hope.
Wow. Wow.
This is hope. Lamar Johnson, 5'7",
Oh, sick.
Los Angeles.
Sick.
You feeling yourself, eh? You like that one? Dude, that was fire, man. I'm so glad that I found that today when I was just kind of looking through it.
Sick, man.
Yeah, and it's yeah, you know, I feel it. It's just so you know, I'm talking to you right now, and when I
Yeah.
look at the character, it's just the same guy with the
Yeah.
same convictions.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and it's simple. Um,
Yeah.
Cool, man. Any last words of advice or wisdom for anybody watching? You know, we're in a tough time right now. You know, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Coming back to work, nobody knows what it's going to be like, and
Yeah.
and I don't know. I just want I want to inspire actors to keep working on their stuff. You know what I mean? And despite
Yeah.
what the auditions may get tough times, I don't know what it's going to be like,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
you know, to not give up hope and to keep
Absolutely.
seeing themselves in this world.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. You know, and also just take this time to, you know, you just hone in. You know, if you have any ideas, write them down. You know, and just try and create for yourself. I think that's really, 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 really important. You know, just try and create for yourself, because for me, I'm the type of person, like, I hate sitting down and waiting for things, you know, or waiting for a phone call, or waiting for someone to tell me yes. You know, I want to be able to be in a position where, you know, I can tell myself yes, because it's something that I've created. So I encourage people to, you know, get their ideas out, and you know, even if it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you know, just get it out, you know, and you know, have the intention to try and create that for yourself. You know, what's a role, a fantasy role that you would just absolutely love to see yourself in? You know, you can write that, you know, even if it's just a short film, and just shoot it. You know, there's like, write that, shoot it, and you can even use it for your reel, or you can use it for whatever, you know. I just encourage people to just create and use the time that we do have right now to create. I know there's some people that don't really feel that inspired, and that's okay too, you know, but yeah, you know, always try and just express yourself in a medium, in any type of way, whether it be painting, whether it be acting, whether it be writing, whether it be dancing, whether it be, you know, really anything. Just, you know, try to express yourself, because, you know, I think everybody has a lot to say.
And I believe you when you say that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's coming from a
I
true
see,
place.
I see it in your
Yeah.
face.
No, I mean it's coming from a true place though, you know.
No, I know. I feel
Yeah.
you, man.
And the thing is, for me, I absolutely try and practice what I preach as well. You know, I've been creating and I've been doing these
That's
things.
why I
So,
admire
you
you,
know,
man.
yeah,
I admire
yeah,
you so much because of that. Because you have a big heart and you're yourself, and you inspire me, and
always.
I think you inspire everybody
Thank
who's
you,
in your circle, man. And much love, brother. Uh,
thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
yeah, man. Yeah, when is your jewelry line coming out?
I don't know yet. Actually, sometime this year. I'm thinking maybe fall.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe
So you
fall.
got a
Yeah,
jewelry line coming out. You got Your
yeah,
Honor coming out. All the Bright Places.
yeah,
That's not out yet, right? Sorry, no.
yeah. It's already out. It's on
That's
Netflix. It's
out.
on Netflix.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
So
already
all
out.
the
Yeah,
Bright
yeah, yeah,
Places.
yeah,
That's with
yeah.
Elle Fanning.
Yeah, Elle Fanning, Justice Smith.
Yep. Yeah. And you did
Keegan
that
Michael
right. You
Key.
did that right before Your Honor, didn't you? In Cleveland.
I did. Yeah, in Cleveland. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. That was
So
fun. That was
check
fun.
that out. All the Bright Places. I guess that's your latest one out right now.
That's the latest one out. Your Honors is next to
It's
come
coming.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Your Honors coming, and then there's something that I just can't really talk about right now.
Whoop, whoop.
That yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, appreciate it,
Exciting,
man.
bro.
Thanks so much,
Yeah,
man.
thank you. I
for doing
appreciate
this,
it,
man.
bro.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, of course. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for tuning in, everybody. You know what? I guess we'll just do this right now. If anybody has any questions, I haven't really done Facebook
Yeah,
Live
yeah.
questions, but if you guys have any questions right now for Lamar, we'll hang out for a couple minutes and put them, ask your questions, and we'll try to answer them. Um,
Hold on.
is Lamar single? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I was actually gonna be like, hold on, did someone
Whoa,
actually
whoa,
ask
whoa,
that?
whoa, whoa. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Um, do you have any plans to go visit LA right now or anything like that, or like what's your next step for going?
Yeah, I actually plan on going next month. I know the borders open up like July 31st or something, but I'm thinking that I can probably get in just because there's actually some stuff that I need to do in LA. Like, it's not just going to be just to kind of go. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to go and be let in. So I got to go sometime next month, probably closer to the end of the month. But yeah, that's the next time that I see myself going. But yeah, no, I've been here in Toronto for, the past 4 months, man, and it's actually a blessing because it's the longest that I've been able to be home in like 4 years, so
It's crazy.
I'm very grateful to be home and be with family and,
We have a
be with my
question for
people.
you, Lamar. How did you approach your manager without a visa?
My agent had connected the meeting, and I guess she had reached out to him, gave him my materials, my resume, and things like that. And I guess my reel, pulled him in. Was the one that he was like, whoa, okay. Even though this guy doesn't have his papers, doesn't have his visa, his reel is very strong. And I remember him telling me when we met, he was like, dude, I saw your reel and it's very strong. And I think just having a strong reel, having great material to show is very beneficial. And also, I had like over 100 episodes under my belt for a show. That was also beneficial. There's a lot of things that went into him agreeing to rep me, outside of me not having my visa. But that was just a process that, it took us, once we booked Kings, we're able to get it. But it's, once again, it was just, when I say, it's important to have people that believe in you as much as you believe in yourself, because in that moment, he truly believed in me. He believed that, we get a job that would, give me my visa, or, we get to that place where a visa is just an afterthought. He believed that we would have the trajectory that we have now. He completely believed it,
That's the American. That's kind of the American business mentality, right? Is like just do it and ask questions later.
Just get it done, for him, if you were him, you saw someone that was really promising, young, had a strong reel, had over 100 episodes on set experience under his belt, he just didn't have a visa. Are you going to pass on that opportunity, or are you going to be like, hey, you know what? Cool, let's work. and let's audition and let's get people to see you. And if you get to a place that, you know, you having a visa is going to lose your job, then it loses you a job. But at least you're in front of these people, and at least you're getting into the rooms, and at least people are seeing your talent, you know. And with us going in that direction, you know, I was able to get my visa from my first job.
Yep. So I think ultimately is putting the work out there. If you don't have a visa, even if you have a visa, it doesn't really guarantee anything. A visa is kind of, like you said, it's kind of like an afterthought.
A visa, it's an afterthought. You got to get the job before your visa even matters.
Yeah, interest them in your talent, your style, you know.
And a lot of the times, it depends on like what network or what company it is, because sometimes they actually can issue you a visa through them, right? So if you don't have a personal visa under yourself, some companies actually would issue you a visa to work, but you just have to work for them. But you can still get a visa. You can still work. That happens too.
I've had it, and actually have a client coming on, Michelle Morgan on Young and the Restless, where she didn't have her visa, and she did her audition, and she within 10 days she was on set.
Yeah, they can expedite the visa for you.
10 days, 2 weeks she was on set. That's you never know, right? Here's another question.
Know. Once again, it's always about the work. Always about the work.
Yeah, just always about the work. Yeah, personality coming through the work. When did you know we kind of touched on this, but just maybe you can summarize it for Cherry. When did you know that you wanted to be an actor and creative, and what was the first step you took to actualize the dream?
The first time that I knew I wanted to be an actor, I was watching a commercial, and I didn't even know it was really acting. That I don't even know if it was an acting that I knew it was going to take me to, but I just knew that, you know, I just wanted to be on television in some capacity, right? So I saw that commercial. You know, I saw a little black kid that looked like me in this commercial, and I was like, oh, I want to do that too. So then I think probably like a month later, I saw my friend in the commercial, so I called him up, and I was like, hey man, how'd you do that? Whatever. And I asked him questions on, you know, how I could do that for myself. Right. And I actualized it through actually just making that phone call, asking questions. He hooked me up with his agent. I auditioned for the agent, and she really liked me, and she signed me. And then when she signed me, then I started auditioning for commercials, and then it blossomed into, you know, me auditioning for projects and acting and taking acting classes and going to a performing arts school, and, you know, it kind of all just evolved from there.
Yeah. Do you still dance, by the way? You still dance. I see you posting some stuff here.
I still dance. I can dance. The thing is, okay, do I still dance? I do not dance professionally.
Right.
But I can still dance. I'll always be able to dance, you know. I'll always be able to dance. I'll always have it. You know, I freestyle and I just session whenever I feel like it, you know. It's very therapeutic for me. You know, dancing is my first passion. And I feel like I'll never let it go, you know.
I remember one time we were doing an audition. I can't remember. Was it a dance movie? It was a dance movie, and I got you to do the backflip. I remember
actually there was a time.
I got you to do the backflip. He's like, you think I should do the backflip? I'm like, can you do a backflip? He's like, yeah. I'm like, on the spot. He's like, yeah. I'm like, do a backflip for the audition, dude. What the heck? So like, the guy does like a backflip. That's nuts. Lamar asks you, is there a practice you have after auditions or shoots, meditations or voice work?
There's not really like a set thing that I do after set. It depends on what the set day is, right? Because a lot of set days are different. So I feel like I need different things on different days based off of, you know, what I've kind of, you know, in New Orleans specifically, I definitely needed just like alone time. That was the most important thing. When I get back to my hotel, I was really just like, need some alone time, you know, and like I'll sit down in quiet, you know, the TV wouldn't be on, I wouldn't be on my phone or nothing, and I just really need some quiet time for me to reflect on my day, reflect on, you know, the choices that I've made, and you know, just be I you know, just kind of reflect on everything and just be proud and happy about the work that I did, even if it's something that maybe when I'm in thought I'm like, oh well, I wish I could have done something better. But for me, knowing that in the moment I was just being honest and I was always doing the best that I possibly could, right? Because obviously you can always go back and think of different ways for you to do something, right? But as long as I knew that it was honest in that moment, it was organic and it felt right, and I did the best that I could, and I can live with it, right? So it's just about me reflecting on my days, and just, okay, cool. all right, cool. What's my next day tomorrow? What's my day tomorrow? You know, what is that looking like? Okay, cool. What can I do to, you know, to heighten or you know, add just a little nuance or a little layer of something into these scenes or this interaction, you know, or even if it's just like a look, you know, is there something that I can do to really try and, you know, convey exactly what it is that this character is trying to convey in this specific moment, you know? And that's kind of just what my process is, being on set.
Dope.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's pretty much it for the questions. Nathan Rivera Drydeck says, Lamar, my man, great interview.
Nathan, what's up, man?
What's the first thing you do when you get your sides for your audition?
First thing I do when I get the sides for audition is I don't look at the sides. I look at the script. I read the script to inform the sides. I read scripts every single time. I tell my team that I want scripts every time. Every audition, I want a script because I need to read the script. Because I need to know where everything is going. I need to know the moment before. I need to know the moment after, you know. And if I don't have to guess, then I would much rather not guess for me to make more informed decisions and right decisions, for me to just be on that much more. So, you know, I read the script. That's the first thing I do. I read the script. Once I read the script and I get the context for absolutely everything, then I look at the sides and then I start making choices. Once I look at the sides and I start making choices, I know the direction where I want to go, and the lines and learning the lines are the absolute last thing that I do. You know, and then if it's a self-tape or something like that, you know, like, I mean, PJ, we work together, talk about it even more, you know, we just really, really dive in. Like every scene, we just kind of just like, we talk about it. We talk about moments. Like, okay, this moment. Okay,
sometimes
cool.
we go so far off the path on what we're talking about. It's like analogy.
Talking about random,
hey man, we can put like Mickey Mouse hat things on, and then we're like, we're not gonna do it that way, but we could if we really wanted to. We're like, okay,
exactly. You know,
we get crazy.
There's even times in exercises what we do is like, okay, cool, we'll put the scene down, and then the second take will be like, all right, you know what? Let's just like fucking go a completely different direction. And let's just see how that feels. How does that feel? You know, how does that feel? Is there a moment that felt good there? Is there something that we can maybe try and take from that? You know, like we just kind of, we play, you know, and that's why I love it. It's like, it's a workshop. We just workshop.
If you had the opportunity to do a role that involves singing, would you do it? And how would you prepare for that?
Yes, I would. I absolutely would. Because, you know, music, once again, I feel so connected with music as because of me being a dancer. Music has always been something that I would have absolutely loved to get into. You know, hey, I could probably get into it in the future. I have no idea. But, you know, would I do a role that involves music? Absolutely, so that I can get that experience through the work, you know? And that would be awesome, you know, to be in the studio and record music for the show, and you know, and to be able to, you know, be an artist and live as an artist for a little bit on set, you know, during the duration of time that we're shooting. I would love that. You know, that would be a lot of fun.
Wicked.
Yeah.
That's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Once again, appreciate it, man. You know,
of course.
It's a pleasure to work with you all these years, man, and to watch you grow.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Stuff, and I can't wait to see where we go in the future, because I know it's gonna be up. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful.
And for anybody watching back home, I would just love some general feedback. Were you guys able to see the video clips? Could you hear them? Could you see them? I've never done one of these before. So just to improve for the moving forward and stuff like that, give me any tips on what you guys think could have improved from tonight's meeting. Did I talk too much? Did Lamar talk too much? I don't think he did, but anyways. Love you all, and look forward to. I'm going to see you guys on Wednesday. I got Christina Rosado coming on Wednesday. She just finished doing one of the first productions, post-COVID productions. I'm excited to find out how the hell they did that. But thanks again, everyone, and tune in on Wednesday, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace and love.
All right.
Yes.